that is alleging that this could have a chilling effect on speech from users. So folks who buy an Alexa or buy like what's the other product? It's I'm drawing a blank right now.
Echo.
Yeah, the Echo, an Alexa or an Echo, from exercising their First Amendment rights to seek and receive information and expressive content in the privacy of their own home. Okay, so there is like a little bit of a concern there, but the more immediate one seems to be whether they can actually be compelled to turn the information over, which, like I said, I feel like there's some other concerns, maybe like a search and seizure that would be brought up here, because it's a local police department in Arkansas is actually asking for the data. Bentonville, that's where Walmart is headquartered.
Right.
So, what's that?
Of course you know that.
But
All
yeah,
right.
So I'm not entirely sure about that, but it did make me raise my eyebrow a little bit. I'm also just intrigued, like if Alexa did in fact hear a murder or was present for a murder, like what exactly is being stored on their servers, like what Amazon actually knows about it.
Yeah, I mean, at a certain point, I have to kind of like, you know, for myself, I have to kind of wonder whether there's a line between sort of legal obligation and just sort of moral obligation in this case. Like I personally, as someone who was murdered, would appreciate Amazon kind of, you know, helping me out on this. I don't know why my HDMI output isn't working.
Yeah. Well, I mean, at the end of the day, I got you. At the end of the day, this kind of comes back down to obviously Amazon's business, right? Because if this gets out and it's like, oh well, you know, the cops were able to get their hands on what my smart speaker from Amazon heard, then they may not buy smart speakers anymore. So there you go.
Right. Fair enough. Okay,
I could have done that, you know.
This is Amazeballs. The article here is from the Washington Post, and you guys have to check this out. Is this just a slideshow?
It's pretty cool though, like, or it's a video.
I hope I don't get in too much trouble, but France is apparently training eagles, and I hope we don't. Yeah, there we go.
You can kind of see.
Training eagles to snatch drones out of the skies to combat terrorism. Freaking awesome. Way to go, France.
I'm down.
You guys are amazing. So basically, they train them from a very young age, and they wanted a way to take down drones without shooting at them. So there you go. They train them from a very young age. They're hatched on top of drones to get used to feeding from them, and practice drones have meat attached to them. This is amazing. So the military is designing leather and Kevlar mittens and anti-blast material to protect their talons. Wow. That's freaking awesome!
I'm also surprised, like, if you hear the headline, Army trains Eagle to attack drones, you would think it's the U.S., but it was France.
I know, right?
Yeah.
It's like, take that, America. France is gonna, no, this one.
Okay.
Okay, last topic for the day. GTX 1080 Ti rumors. NVIDIA will be holding a GTX gaming celebration event on February 28th, allegedly. Just after AMD's Capsaicin and Cream event the same day. So the original article here is from overclock3d.net. I don't know any of this stuff. NVIDIA states that this event is one that you don't want to miss, with many people speculating that the event will be used to launch new GPU hardware. How very interesting. All right, so last thing left for today is, oh yeah, hold on a second. There you go. So there you go. That is the rumored, oh, I don't even know. Is that just Photoshop?
I think it's just a mock-up.
That just looks Photoshop.
The TI kind of just looks shoved in there, so yeah.
Yeah, I don't think that's a real one.
No, this is pretty, okay.
Anyway,
but there it is.
Which leaves our last topic as Floatplane Club. So those of you who aren't familiar with Floatplane Club, in a nutshell, it's a super cool way to watch Linus Media Group videos 1 week early. We've actually got way more members than we were expecting to have at this point in the process, but I just want to tease you guys with what's going to be coming to Floatplane Club in the next week. Or, no, not what's going to be coming to Floatplane Club. Sorry. What's going to be coming to YouTube, what is already available on Floatplane Club now. So, starting on tomorrow, actually, it's going to be a heck of a week. So, what is already there What is already there is, right, Apple AirPod alternatives. So we took for a spin a bunch of wireless earbuds that are a lot cheaper, or in some cases even more expensive than the Apple AirPods, to kind of determine, is Apple really overpriced, or is it just expensive? We've got server room upgrade vlog, part 2 of 3. We've got our investigation into bulk thermal compounds. So we bought 1 kilogram of thermal compound, and we find out, is buying your thermal compound in bulk worth it? We've got Dell's Inspiron Gaming, so their new replacement for the Inspiron 90 whatever, Inspiron 15 whatever it was. So this time they're really calling it Inspiron Gaming, and it's looking like a pretty cool little machine. We've got, that was a simultaneous release. We've got server room upgrade vlog part 3 of 3. Woo! And that's it. Yeah. So all of those are up on Floatplane Club right now, and we've actually got Fast as Possible topics up there as well, which I can't find, unfortunately, right now. But if you know them off the top of your head, that might be helpful.
Well, we just pushed one out today on Nintendo's.
Yeah.
Oh. We plopped out a video today, if you would prefer that, on the Nintendo Switch. Nintendo Switch as fast as possible, now available on Floatplane Club. It's a pretty comprehensive yet pretty quick rundown of the new features you can expect on the Nintendo Switch. So you have that to look forward to on YouTube next week, actually on Switch launch day. So cool. Oh, and did we mention DRM free downloads? Is that right?
Yeah, DRM free downloads for Floatplane Club. So there's no ads, DRM free downloads, and early access.
There you go.
Super fun release that came out in Floatplane. We threw some axes. It was wonderful.
Yeah, we threw some shade is what your stuff thrown.
Oh! You get to see Dennis throw sharp objects.
Yeah.
So, I mean, how can you say no?
So we linked where you guys can join up, and we will see you again next week. Same bad time, same bad channel.
Roll the outro.
Oh, my nose is dripping.
Hello, and welcome to In Response, the Magic the Gathering debate show, where Josh Lee Kwai, myself, and sometimes special guests come in to debate hot topics in the world of Magic the Gathering. We've got a lot of great topics today, but before we get to them, let's take a look and see how we did last week in the polls. Josh?
So topic number 1 from last week was the CEO letter called Making Moves. Professor, you had a negative reaction to the letter, while I took a more positive stint. And the viewers agreed with you. They were 54% in your favor, with 46% in mine. Topic number 2 was, should Cube be year-round? And on this one, I tagged in Judge April, who is arguing that Cube should be year-round, and Professor, you were saying that it should still be limited and stay the way it is. It was a very close, this particular debate. 51% in your favor, 49% for April. And then for the third debate, we were talking about the Ether Revolt on Kaladesh. I took the side of the rebels, Viva la Revolution. Professor, you were on the side of the consulate.
I was not on the side of the consulate. I was on the side of that the revolution should not be happening. I did not side with the consulate. I just want to be clear. I do not side with the now former consulate. I simply was against the revolution. You can be against the revolution and not support the consulate.
Okay, fair enough. Well, in any case, 73% in my favor and 27% for you. So those 27% of people, I'm looking at you. I don't know what happened.
Well, that certainly was an interesting topic there at the end. Now, we're going to be doing something different in the polls this week. What we've done is we've integrated cards into the YouTube client. You should see a lowercase I appearing on your screen now. And if you click on that I, it will allow you to vote in the polls for the topics this week right through the YouTube client. This works on mobile. This works if you're not on mobile. It works on everything. Just click on that I and you can vote. Remember that what we're asking in the polls is not which topic you personally agree with, but rather which one of us you feel presented the better argument. So sometimes you might actually disagree with, say, me on the issue, but think that I presented a better argument than Josh, and much more rarely you might think that Josh presented the better argument. Let's move on to our first topic of today, the Magic the Gathering Pro Tour. Is it worth it? Many people have said that the Magic the Gathering Pro Tour is incredibly expensive and may not be yielding the type of results that are intended. Maybe something new needs to replace it, or maybe it simply is an antiquated system of the days of old. Or is the Pro Tour a vital part of Magic the Gathering in terms of its game and promotion? Josh, you are taking the position that the Pro Tour maybe needs to wither away. When you're ready, you have 90 seconds.
Prof, when it comes to the Magic Pro Tour, I'm afraid that the juice is just not worth the squeeze. You've used the idea of opportunity costs many times throughout our various debates, as have I, and I'm going to give the audience credit that they understand that term. So I'm not saying that the Pro Tour is bad for Magic. It is undoubtedly in the positive column. I enjoy watching it, I'm sure a lot of our viewers do, but that's not the question. The question is, what does the Pro Tour accomplish for the game of Magic? And is what it accomplishes worth the cost? To examine that, we have to figure out what it accomplishes, and the answer seems to be, not a lot. I mean, first of all, barely anybody watches it. It's ranked somewhere around the 30th most popular game on Twitch. That's 3-0. At any given moment, only maybe 40,000 people are watching the Pro Tour, the biggest event in Magic. There's also the issue that the Pro Tour is really only appealing to your most enfranchised customers. The reason for this is pretty obvious. The game's difficult to follow, the cards can be pretty hard to see on camera. I'll be honest, even I occasionally have trouble following all the action. If you've ever had the PT on the TV and somebody in the room who either barely knows Magic or doesn't know it at all, you know that it's basically laughable to them. So what you're doing is spending a bunch of time, money, and resources on something that's basically selling the game to a bunch of people who are already going to buy it. I'm not saying this has zero value. Maintaining current customers is important. I'm just saying it's not optimal. I mean, wouldn't that marketing money be better spent growing your game and bringing in new players? There's a whole bunch of people in the world that would love Magic if they could just be convinced to try it. Does the Pro Tour convince anyone to try Magic that doesn't already know how to play? I don't think it does. But that's my view, Prof. I know a lot of people love the Pro Tour, and I know that there's a lot of reasons that people think it should stick around, and you're here to enumerate all those reasons. I'm anxious for your 90 seconds. Go ahead.
Josh, I cannot think of a single Tier 1 game that promotes competitive play that does not have a pro circuit of some kind. The Pro Tour is vital to the success of Magic the Gathering, and it actually doesn't have that much to do with our individual enjoyment of it. In fact, I'm not a big Pro Tour fanatic, but even I understand from a business perspective why it is crucial to the success of this game and is the key to the future of Magic the Gathering. First and foremost is the point that we are all probably familiar with. The Pro Tour largely promotes the standard format. If you did not have the Pro Tour constantly promoting the standard format, there is going to be a significantly diminished reason to participate in standard. Why do I have to keep up with the new set if there isn't a new Pro Tour using that set? I don't even think it's so much about selling those booster packs as just giving us a reason to keep up with the game and not just play casual Magic with the cards we have existing in our collections after a reasonable time has passed and we've built up those collections. Why am I still buying cards? I'm still buying cards because of standard, and standard is nothing without that Pro Tour. In addition to this, it's designed to garner non-Magic the Gathering player interest in the game. You brought up a lot of really good points about how our coverage of the Pro Tour is not what it could be. But just because we're not doing a good job doesn't mean we throw it away. Invest in better capabilities instead.
Those are some really good points, Prof. Unusually optimistic for you.
Hey, I'm an optimist. I'm always an optimist, and I'm really optimistic that you're going to have a great rebuttal right now. 45 seconds when you're ready.
Only a handful of people watch the Pro Tour. Way more people than that are playing Standard. Do you know why? Because of local tournaments, GPs, SCG events, FNMs. And you know what's still going to be around? All that stuff. Also, one of the biggest issues we hear from people is the topic of net decking. Doesn't the Pro Tour exacerbate this problem? Wouldn't tournaments, reports from GPs and SCG events still give you a good idea of what cards are good while allowing much more brewing? Listen, 99% of people play Magic for fun. They don't play it for some kind of future job equity. And if you focus your efforts on exposing the game to potential new players, what product do new players buy? They buy the newest stuff. So you get new players into the game, you're still selling Standard.
Okay, and you feel really confident those articles and events are still going to be going on when the Pro Tour circuit is given the axe?
I mean, you basically said that you only read the articles from the Pro Tour anyway, so what's the difference to you?
Well, if the Pro Tour doesn't exist, what am I reading?
The GP article.
Okay.
But you have 45 seconds to give me your further optimistic view on the Pro Tour.
As a content creator, everything starts with the Pro Tour. The wheels of creation, adaptation, it all comes from them. Content is fueled by the Grand Prix and Pro Tours. Without them, can you imagine how much less content there'd be? YouTube channels like our own, podcasts, blogs, everything that's talked about, written about, striving to improve decks, to see what the current strategy is. It all comes from the pros at the top. That's the way the system works. If we do not have this system in play, how are we promoting the game? And do you really believe that programs like our own, podcasts, blogs, that these promote the game? I do. Without a Pro Tour, there is none of it.
I mean, you're talking to the wrong guy because I have a Commander podcast and we'll go months without even saying the words pro and tour.
Well, Commander is a fun format. It's a beast of a different color, as they say.
Doesn't need the Pro Tour to be healthy.
Okay, well that's your opinion, but we'll see what people say when they vote by clicking on that I.
Yeah, okay, well I'm losing this one. But moving on to topic number 2. This is a big one too, a hot button issue. It's MTG Finance. So a lot of people say that MTG Finance is ruining the game, while MTG financiers and even non-financiers will say no, it's actually a healthy part of the ecosystem and it's necessary for the game to continue to exist the way that it does. Now, this is not a topic in which I am an expert. I do have opinions, but it thought it'd be better in this case to bring in somebody who is very much an expert. I'm talking about Rudy from Alpha Investments. Rudy, come on in.
Thank you, Josh. It is a pleasure to be here. I really appreciate you giving me this opportunity.
All right, Rudy, well, as our guest, you get to choose whether you go first or I do. What's it going to be?
Professor, I'm going to let you go first. I definitely want to hear what your side of the story is so I can discuss it.
Well, the first thing that I want to be perfectly clear on is that I am not saying that Magic the Gathering cards shouldn't have value. This is a collectible card game after all, and if every single Magic card was worth 10 cents, or this was like a living card game where we all had exactly the same cards, I feel this would destroy the game of Magic altogether. My problem is with investors, people who treat Magic the Gathering cards and collectibles like a stock market, where they can literally push a button and do buyouts of cards. And these cards that they're buying out are cards that we need to play the game. So when a new standard deck becomes a top deck, whatever the key and critical cards in that deck are, shoot up in value and shoot up in price, not just because every Magic player is trying to get them. Every Magic player isn't trying to get them. People don't all play standard. People don't all play that one standard deck, but because investors have targeted these key cards, bought them out, and changed the prices through doing so. And that change is for the worse of players. MTG Finance is the sort of thing where we are buying cases and cases of sealed boxes of Magic the Gathering with no intent of opening them up to play, but just hoarding them until such a time when they can be individually sold off at inflated prices. And this is bad for players, bad for the game.
All right, those are some real good points, Professor. I can completely understand where you're coming from. I can appreciate that perspective, but I have a whole different opinion for you.
All right, well, Rudy, at your ready, you have 90 seconds to let us hear your side of the story in terms of MTG Finance.
Thanks, Professor. I really appreciate your perspective, but I really have a completely different opinion on it. The secondary market, specifically when it comes to newer cards, I feel is very imperative. It's very important, and I don't think people recognize how important it is for the local game store, for the sales of new Wizards products, for the cards, and for even the people who are buying the packs, the individual player. They need to be able to buy packs that have value, that make them feel like they are collecting and putting their money that they are working hard for. They need to feel like it's going into something useful. While I completely agree with you about how the speculation and a lot of the buyouts are, especially with new cards in Standard, because that is a completely different animal versus an older reserved list card or older products that are not required for these type of tournaments or environments. So while you have two different areas, it is still extremely imperative. The one thing we all can agree on is we all want Magic to be around. It needs to be healthy. Everybody wants what's best for it. And we need to have a small degree of the investors, of the players, of the stores. Everyone has to work together. People get very upset with it. It is an emotional thing, but it is necessary. We need all of these pieces. No matter how you feel about it emotionally, it is something that is a required thing. That is the reason we're all still here today after so many years, because Magic is still strong. It is massive. It has grown to this because of how everybody feels about it. And all these parts have to work together. We cannot remove one piece of the market to make everybody else happy.
Absolutely, Rudy. And one point I really want to comment on before I even offer my rebuttal is that no one here is trying to villainize people in terms of players, collectors, or MTG financiers. We do all want what's best for the game.
Okay, Professor, it's your turn. 45 seconds. I want to hear your counterpoint rebuttal to that.
Do you remember when people thought that Goblin Rigger was going to be a worthwhile card in Kaladesh, possibly, because they thought contraptions were coming back, and it shot up from being 20 cents to over $5 overnight? When people have the ability to buy out key pieces, whether it's a piece they think is going to be worth something or a piece they know is necessary for gameplay, they ruin that ability for us to play the game. Imagine if, in order to play Monopoly, you had to buy all the separate pieces to put it together, and people were targeting certain things, like let's buy out all the $5 bills so that you have to spend a fortune in order to get them. This is going beyond a collector's card game and turning into disrupting the player base's ability to play and enjoy it. Okay, Rudy, the final word is yours. 45 seconds when you're ready.
Thanks, Professor. I really want to drill in on the example you gave me. When a basic card goes from 15 to 20 cents in a new set, and that gets bought out or gets spiked by investors or players or whoever's speculating on it, there is a lot of positive things that do occur that I don't think a lot of people think about. When the value of the rares jump up or get bought out, stores will order more, distributors will ship more, Wizards will sell more boxes. It puts more supply into the market because there is a buyout. It moves more product, which makes the local game store a lot more money, increases the sales for Wizards, and helps the entire overall economy move and remain very fluid. And it's healthy for everybody. So while it may not be a nice thing that it gets bought out, it does help the market continue. And that is very important for everybody.
And thank you, Rudy. Really exciting to have you come on our show. Great to get your viewpoints.
Absolutely. A pleasure to have him come visit.
Okay, well, it's time to move on to our final topic of the episode. We're going to talk Magic Digital next. There's been a lot of chatter because there were some screenshots or a potential screenshot that was released on the internet that everyone thinks might be Magic Digital next. It might not be. We don't know a lot about the product, but we're having a discussion on Twitter, Prof, and we have a disagreement. Big surprise. It's what should Magic Digital next ideally look like? Should it copy and try to one-for-one recreate what paper Magic is? Or should it lean in towards its new digital roots and try to adjust accordingly? You want it to stay the same as paper? You have 90 seconds to state your case.
The biggest mistake that Magic Digital Next could make would be to emulate a Duels of the Planeswalker situation where we get an incomplete version of Magic. We need the complete game. Whether that means an upgrade to Magic Online or a program that replaces it entirely, the key is having the entire card pool available from the start. If we so much as have an online client that only has the newest sets and promises more will ambiguously be released in the future, it will be a critical misstep. Without sets outside of Standard, we cannot play Modern, we cannot play Legacy, we cannot play Commander, let alone Vintage. One of the biggest selling points of Magic Online is that Vintage and Legacy cards are available on the cheap, and people can actually play and enjoy these formats. We've seen a big push from Wizards of the Coast recently to make Standard the main format, and I understand why they're doing that, but if they do that in terms of Magic Digital Next, where all you have access to are the Standard cards, where this is some kind of glorified Duels of the Planeswalkers, that is not going to cut it for the player base. I know that it is complicated.